let me quickly also introduce political strategist and commentator JVC Sriram, and also senior journalist Madhavan Narayanan, who's with us live on the broadcast. Mr. Narayanan, your first thoughts. Like I said, Vokkaliga gamble very, very key to the upcoming elections, and that's the belt where we're seeing the Prime Minister hold this mega roadshow as well. What do you think is at stake, sir?
I think what is at stake is a whole set of people who might be called fence sitters or floating voters. See, Karnataka is pretty much, it's one of the worst kept secrets, like I always say, that the two hidden political parties of Karnataka, the Vokkaliga party and the Lingayat party, but they've got such a fluid, ambition that they shift their allegiance between Congress and BJP, the Lingayat, whereas the Vokkaligas like to swing between BJP and the JDS. So to that, but you cannot oversimplify the situation, because these two communities are fairly well educated, highly ambitious and politically aware, and they are not conventional vote banks. They simply go and put the marks. And as you rightly said, the Mysuru belt, and there is something called the Vokkaliga belt, which might be up for grabs, because people who will, since BJP has explicitly announced that they will not be going with JDS if there is a hung assembly or any such eventuality, people might want to vote for BJP if there is a situation where they don't see any meaning in the JDS candidate winning. So the idea is probably to get the floating votes as well as some of the fence sitters on JDS towards the BJP side. But having said that, let me also point out that the Congress president of Karnataka, D.K. Shivakumar, who is a prospective chief minister candidate, is also a Vokkaliga, and to that extent it's not an easy game. But Mr. Modi knows that this is not, Karnataka is not a typically what you could call a Hindutva country, although there's a strong Hindutva lobby of the RSS, which is BJP, obviously. So Mr. Modi tries to use his personal hard work, personal campaign, and a lot of big ticket development projects to actually win over the younger voters or the floating voters, so that in a constituency-wise constituency, what is the electoral equivalent of the hand-to-hand combat in a war is won by the BJP. So what they do is to go that extra mile, give that extra push of energy, and hope for the best. Because the pre-poll surveys suggest very strong anti-incumbency vote against the BJP. And Mr. Modi and Mr. Amit Shah, who are the key strategists, do know this. So they are pushing very hard. They are, as they say, pulling no stops.
And just like any other election, Karnataka also goes without saying is running high. The battle is running high on optics. Don't you think, Mr. JVC Sriram, we've seen star campaigners one after the other line up, and this particular belt, of course, very, very crucial for the BJP, for the Congress and for the JDS as well. But with the Prime Minister himself hitting the ground, where do you see this headed?
So I think, yes, it's the high optics and high voltage campaign, and we need to also understand that Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi is doing heavy lifting here. Since yesterday, if you see, he is visiting places like Kolar today, Chennapatna. These are places where BJP has never ever won. And even you take the case of, Bidar, or yesterday at Chittapur, where Priyank Kharge, son of Mallikarjun Kharge, is standing. He is not coming to the places where the BJP has been traditionally strong, where BJP is going to win. It's not that. He is walking that extra mile. And mind you, I have been in Old Mysore region last entire week. I was in Mandya and all those places. These are places where BJP had got less than 5% votes, 6% votes. And in our surveys, BJP is coming to around 27, 28, even 32%. And which is really surprising. And what this election will have to be, we have to keep in mind is, Mr. Kumaraswamy has not still hit the road. And his absence is being felt. Because places where JDS had won by a margin or received 57% of votes in the last election, in Mandya they swept. And later in KR Peta, the JDS MLA defected, and then he stood again and he won. But you look at Mandya, this is a very important case study because old Mysore region itself has to be divided into multiple areas. Ramnagara and Mandya are real fortress of JDS along with Asan. Now in Tumkur, BJP has already made its inroads.
Okay.
And in Kolar, BJP is in a not in a great position, and that is where Mr. Narendra Modi did the heavy lifting today. And now you see in Mysuru, in Narasimharaja, you said very important. Narasimharaja is a place where SDPI state president is contesting. And the minority votes, if it gets divided, now in all probability, BJP could just sneak in. And we need to look at old Mysuru region with microscope because traditionally, if they go past 11, 12, that itself is considered a big thing. But now many analysts are saying that BJP could go up to as high as 16 or 18. Now it's a big number, very big number. You know, out of 57 seats, 16
but if we
or 18.
compare it to other regions, Mr. Sriram, then the BJP hasn't performed all that well. If with respect to other regions perhaps.
Definitely yes. Because see, the problem with BJP in Karnataka has been that it has been a party which performs exceedingly well in a region, or it is not at all there. Like you take the case of coastal Karnataka, they sweep there. In Kittur Karnataka, they perform exceedingly well. In Madhya Karnataka, they do very well. In Kalyana Karnataka, they don't perform well. In old Mysore region, they had, that's what I'm saying. Because they had, say, 6%, 3%. 3% in 2018, and in 2019, the constituency leads, BJP leads by 47% in parliamentary election, and the hangover effect of that is there in this election. That's what I'm saying. Because in Mandya, if you look at 2018 assembly election, it was a drubbing which BJP had, which means it did not have any presence. But with Sumalata coming in, she scored 54% as the NDA candidate.
And what's important to note here is that even though the BJP is relatively weak in South Karnataka, we've seen how the party's electoral performances vary significantly from assembly elections to Lok Sabha elections. So we've seen the Lok Sabha record as well. And in that sense, the comparison is very, very interesting. But I want to quickly go across to my colleague Madhav, who also continues to stay on with us to really get us a sense of what's happening on ground. Madhav, over to you. What are the preparations looking like? How soon can we expect the Prime Minister there?
Well, absolutely. In fact, let me quickly show you. This is where we are at. This is the final spot of the Prime Minister. This is where the rally will end. The roadshow will end. I beg your pardon. And if you can just see the kind of people gathered over here, you can see for the next several hundred meters down both sides of the road, there are people gathered to get a glimpse of the Prime Minister. How much of impact this will have, not just in Mysore and the three constituencies where the Prime Minister is currently, conducting this roadshow, but also in neighbouring constituencies, a very important point, because it's not just about the presence of the Prime Minister physically over here on ground, it's also about the impact that this has on the party workers, on the rank and file, and on the public as well, the voting public in neighbouring constituencies. And that's what the BJP strategy clearly is, by carpet bombing the Prime Minister all through the entire old Mysore region, right through the day today. It started with Kolar, it went on to Chennapatna, and then later the Prime Minister campaigned in Hassan, now ending the day in Mysore. Has touched down, we understand, in Mysore, and in a short while from now the roadshow will begin from the gun house circle where Imran is currently at, and end up here at the Millennium Circle. The larger question though is, how will this enthuse people? How will this enthuse voters? We have some people over here. Let's quickly get a word from them, what they are thinking. You have come here. What is the idea over here of people of Mysore? You come here to see the Prime Minister. What are the big issues, the main issues in the election?
No, I came to see the Modi here now. So I'm waiting to see him.
Yeah, but will it make any difference over here on ground? Because old Mysore region has typically not been a stronghold for BJP.
Yeah, he's the strongest leader, and all people have the confidence that he has some good leadership, and he will do something for the India. He's waiting for that.
Okay, that's what they're hoping for.
Yeah.
Shimprikara, what are the main issues in this election? Okay, so a lot of shy voters over here who are fighting amongst themselves, pushing each other in front of the camera. But clearly the fact is that we've been speaking to people, they are looking at the development track record. They have been saying that they look at the Prime Minister as somebody who has raised the image of India abroad. This is what several of the people we're speaking to over here are telling us. We've been reporting through the evening and afternoon today, and this is the sense that they're getting. So there's a lot of excitement to see the Prime Minister. It's not every day that these citizens get to see the Prime Minister walking past their house or the place of work. But on ground over here, a lot of excitement for just that. If you can hear the drums, if you can hear the dole, as it were, behind behind me, it's pretty much a festive mood, a festive atmosphere that we're seeing over here on ground.
Very interesting what you're telling us. The build-up looks very, very interesting. A lot of BJP supporters and karyakartas on ground.